Her fingers brushed against my hand in the driveway, sending electricity through my body. And the words slipped out before I could stop them. "I can't stop thinking about you," I confessed, my voice breaking. She glanced around the quiet suburban street, then locked her eyes with mine. "My husband never has to know," she whispered in that moment. I realized she wasn't just offering comforts, she was offering destruction. The late afternoon sun cast long shadows across Maple Creek's perfect lawns. I could smell her jasmine perfume mixing with the scent of freshly cut grass. My heart pounded so loudly I was certain the neighbors could hear it from their windows. 5 houses in our cul-de-sac, 5 potential witnesses to the moment my life changed forever. Cora's eyes, those deep brown eyes that had haunted me for months, held mine, with an intensity that made my throat dry. The slight curve of her lips wasn't a smile exactly, but something more dangerous. Her wedding ring caught the sunlight as her hand lingered near mine, taunting me with everything I shouldn't want but desperately craved. "I should go," I mumbled, suddenly aware of how exposed we were. Mrs. Henderson could step outside to collect her mail any second. The Taylor kids might race by on their bikes, yet I couldn't move. 6 months a widower. 6 months since Alara died. And here I stood, betraying her memory in our neighbor's driveway. My chest tightened with guilt, but beneath that guilt ran a current of something I hadn't felt since Alara's funeral. Aliveness, that's what terrifies me most. Not the wrongness of wanting another man's wife, but how right it felt to want anything at all. "Tomorrow," Cora whispered, her voice like velvet. "When Dominic leaves for Chicago." She squeezed my fingers once before sliding into her car. I watched her drive away, frozen on the spot where my life had just split in two before and after those 7 words. "My husband never has to know." The phrase echoed in my mind, a seductive promise and a terrible warning all at once. What have I done? What am I about to do? I'm just an average guy. It's what everyone says about me. Leo Murphy, the landscape designer who blends into the background of Maple Creek. 38 years. Old, with a receding hairline and calloused hands. Nothing special. Nothing that would make you look twice. 6 months ago, I had everything figured out. A successful small business designing gardens for wealthy clients. A modest but comfortable home at the end of Maple Creek's perfect horseshoe. Of identical houses. And Elaru, my wife, my best friend, my entire world for 15 years. Then one Tuesday morning, Elaru complained of a headache. By evening, she was gone. Brain aneurysm, they said. No warning. By just ... gone. They don't prepare you for the silence after everyone stops bringing casseroles. When the sympathy cards stop arriving and your in-laws' calls become less frequent. When grief truly begins in the echo of an empty house where 2 people once lived. I wake up each morning and stare at the ceiling fan, counting rotations, until I find the strength to face another day without her. 1 ... 2 ... 4. Sometimes I reach 300 before my feet touch the floor. Our bedroom still smells like her. Well, I haven't washed the pillowcase on her side of the bed. It's pathetic maybe, but it's all I have left. From my kitchen window, I can see 4 other houses, the perfect American dream in miniature. The Hendersons to the left, retired golf enthusiasts. The Taylors across the street, 3 kids, golden retriever. The empty Collins house waiting for new owners. And directly to my right, the Martinez home, where Dominic and Cora live. I didn't notice Cora much before Alara died. She was just the pretty neighbor who waved from her garden or made small talk at community barbecues. But grief changes how you see people. It's like wearing glasses with a different prescription suddenly. Some things come into sharp focus while others blur. And Cora came into focus. She moves through her perfect house like a ghost. Designer kitchen with copper pots hanging above. A marble island. Living room straight out of a magazine. 2 perfect children who attend private school. A husband who drives a car that costs more than my annual income. Dominic Martinez, investment banker. 6'2" with perfect teeth and custom suits. He leaves before dawn 3 days a week to catch flights to New York or Chicago or London. His car barely slows when pulling into the driveway each night. Always on his phone. He's always walking 2 steps ahead of Cora at neighborhood functions. I started noticing the way her smile never reaches her eyes when he's around. How she flinches slightly when he places his hand on her lower back. Not from fear, but from something worse. Indifference. One evening, I was sitting on my back porch, nursing a beer and staring at nothing, when I heard them through their open window. The Mendoza account closed today. Dominic's voice, clipped and professional. That's great, Cora replied. Emma has her recital tomorrow. Tot, maybe I'll be in Boston tomorrow. Cot, I told you last week. Silence. You didn't tell me. Check your calendar. Cot. I had Melissa send the schedule. More silence then. Of course. Melissa sent it. I shouldn't have been listening, but grief makes eavesdroppers of us all. In that moment, I recognized something in Cora's voice, hollow note, that matched the emptiness in my chest. We're different types of lonely. Cora and mine came suddenly. A bomb that destroyed everything. Hers built slowly, a quiet erosion of connection over years. But loneliness recognizes its own kind. Twice now, I've caught her looking at me from her garden. Not the polite neighbor glance, but something longer, more searching. Each time I looked away first, my face burning with shame. Not because of what I felt, but because I felt anything at all. Is it a betrayal to notice another woman when your wife is only 6 months dead? It's to see the graceful curve of Cora's neck as she reads on her patio and feel your breath catch. Dream not of Alara's face, but of a neighbor you barely know. My therapist, yes. I finally started seeing once as grief isn't linear. That feeling something, anything, is progress. But she doesn't understand. Grief isn't just sadness. It's guilt. It's the constant conversation with a ghost who can't answer back. Would you hate me for this, Alara? I whisper to our empty bedroom each night. The ceiling fan offers. No answers. 1, 2, 3, 4, The storm came without warning. 1. Tuesday night, exactly 6 months after Alara died. The symbolism wasn't lost on me as I watched lightning crack the sky in half. Rain hammered against the windows like it wanted in. I was halfway through my 3rd whiskey when frantic knocking startled me. Through the peephole, Cora drenched and wide-eyed. I'm sorry, she gasped when I opened the door. My basement's flooding. The sump pump died and Dominic's in Tokyo. And her words tumbled out between shaky breaths. For the first time in months, instinct overrode inertia. I grabbed my toolbox and followed her across our lawns, rain soaking through my shirt in seconds. Her basement was ankle-deep in murky water when we descended the stairs. The smell hit me first damp concrete and wet cardboard. The emergency light cast everything in a sickly yellow glow. Where's the pump? I asked, rolling up my sleeves. She pointed to a corner where dirty water churned around a metal box. Circuit breaker. Upstairs in the utility room. For the next hour, we worked in rhythm, her holding the flashlight, me clearing debris from the pump intake. When our hands accidentally touched in the darkness, neither of us pulled away immediately. The air between us felt charged, like the storm outside had somehow gotten in. Try the switch now. I called from my kneeling position in the water. The pump groaned, then roared to life. The water level began dropping immediately. Cora's relieved laugh echoed against the concrete walls, and something shifted inside Mia. Rusted gear finally turning again. "You're soaked," she said afterward, handing me a towel in her pristine kitchen. "Let me make some coffee." That first cup of coffee became a ritual. The next morning, she appeared at my door with a thermos. "A proper thank you," she said. We sat on my porch swing, watching the neighborhood wake up. Our conversation wandered from basement repairs to books to dreams we'd abandoned. She'd been a gallery curator before marriage. I confessed I'd once wanted to design public parks, not just backyards for the wealthy. "What stopped you?" she asked. "Life, mortgage payments. The practical things." Dominic was practical once, she said quietly. Before the promotions and business class flights. When she left, the porch felt emptier than before. The block party happened 2 weeks later, an annual Maple Creek tradition I'd planned to skip. But Cora texted that morning, "Please come. I'll need an ally amid the perfect families." I went, stood awkwardly by the grill, nodded through conversations about property values and school districts. Then across the Hendersons' crowded backyard, Cora looked up from a conversation with the Taylor twins' mother. Our eyes locked. The world around us continued: burgers flipping, children shrieking, neighbors laughing, but between us stretched a taut wire of recognition. She gave the slightest nod, a gesture so small no one else would notice. Oh, but I felt it like a physical touch. That night, my phone lit up with a text. "Are you awake?" 3 words that changed everything. Our late-night conversations became a lifeline. Words we'd never say in daylight flowed freely in the blue glow of our screens. "Me, I still talk to Alara sometimes. Cora, what do you tell her, me, that I miss her? That I'm sorry I'm still here when she isn't. Cora, does she answer? Me, no. But sometimes I feel her disapproval. Cora, of what? Me, of me, us, moving forward, feeling things again. Cora, like what things?" 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. "Cora, I do." The guilt crushed me the next morning. I'd crossed a line not physically, but in my heart. Each text felt like another stone on Alara's grave, so I pulled away. Ignored Cora's messages. Kept my blinds closed. Changed my running route to avoid passing her house. When we did cross paths at the mailboxes, I gave her nothing but a tight nod. The hurt in her eyes nearly broke me. But wasn't that better than breaking my promise to Alara? Till death do us part, but how long after death? For 7 days, I maintained my distance. 7 days of lying awake, phone dark and silent on my nightstand. 7 days of seeing Cora's silhouette through her kitchen window and forcing myself to look away. On the 8th day, I saw her struggling with grocery bags as rain began to fall. I watched from behind my curtain as one bag split, sending oranges. Rolling down her driveway, I told myself not to move. Told myself this was the right thing, the honorable thing. But honor doesn't keep you warm at night. And grief, I was learning, is selfish. It wants company. I couldn't stay away. That's the simple, awful truth. The morning after the grocery incident, I left a basket of fresh oranges on Cora's porch with a note. "I'm sorry." 3 hours later, she knocked on my door. No makeup, hair pulled back, eyes red-rimmed. "Why?" she demanded, stepping inside without waiting for an invitation. "Why what? Why did you disappear? Why are you sorry? Why any of this?" The questions hung between us like smoke. I closed the door, aware we were alone in my house for the first time. "Because I'm scared," I admitted. "Because when I talk to you, I forget to be sad, and that feels like betraying her." Cora stepped closer. "Alara's gone, Leo. Her voice was gentle but firm. I didn't know her, but would she want you to stop living? It's not that simple. It never is. She ran her fingers along my bookshelf, stopping at a photo of Alara and me in Costa Rica. Tell me about her. So I did. For hours, I talked about Ella Ray, her passion for marine biology, her terrible singing voice, how she color-coded her closet. Cora listened, really listened, occasionally asking questions that showed she was absorbing every detail as afternoon faded to evening. Something unexpected happened. The memories didn't hurt as much when shared. Each story felt like setting down a heavy stone I'd been carrying. She sounds wonderful, Cora said when I finally fell silent. No wonder you loved her. I still love her. Of course you do. I touched my hand lightly. That doesn't stop. When she left, the house felt different. Not empty, but open, like someone had cracked a window in a room closed to long dot. Our connection deepened over the next few weeks. We were careful meeting for coffee at a place 20 minutes from Maple Creek. Texting during Dominic's frequent business trips, maintaining our neighborly facade when others were watching. I learned about Cora's life before Dominic, her art history degree, her dreams of running her own gallery. How she'd slowly surrendered pieces of herself to fit into his world of corporate wives and charity galas. When did you know? Asked one evening as we walked through a park far from our neighborhood. Know what? That your marriage had become a performance. She considered this kicking at fallen leaves. 3 years ago, Emma was sickly sick with pneumonia. I called Dominic in London. He was giving a presentation and couldn't talk. Said he'd call back. Her jaw tightened. He called the next day. We stopped walking. The autumn air felt electric between us. Why do you stay? I asked. Her laugh lacked humor. Financial security, the children's stability, fear of starting over at 36. She looked directly at me. The usual cliches. Those aren't cliches. They're real concerns. What about you? She countered. Why haven't you dated since Alara? It's only been 6 months. Is that the only reason? The question cut to my core. It's a timing or something deeper. It's a fear that loving someone new would somehow erase what Alara and I had shared. We drove home in silence, the unspoken hovering between us. That night, I dreamt of Alara. We were in our kitchen, and she was laughing at something I'd said. But when she turned around, it was Cora's face I saw. I woke up crying. 2 days later, I saw Cora arguing with Dominic in their driveway before he climbed into his BMW and sped away. She stood there, watching his taillights disappear, shoulders slumped in defeat. I knew I should stay inside, close the blinds, mind my own business. Instead, I crossed the lawn. Hey, I said, stopping a respectful distance away. She turned, quickly wiping her eyes. Hey yourself, everything okay? Fine. Just Dominic being Dominic. She attempted a smile. He's heading to Chicago for 3 days. Another crucial meeting that can't possibly be handled by anyone else. I'm sorry. Don't be. I'm used to it. But something in her voice, weariness beyond resignation, made me step closer. No one should get used to feeling invisible, Cora. Her eyes widened slightly, and I realized I'd hit a nerve named the exact wound she carried. Is that how you see me? She whispered, as invisible. No, I said honestly. I see you too much. That's the problem. She moved toward her car, keys clutched tightly. I should go. The kids will be home soon. I nodded, stepping back. She reached for the door handle. Something broke inside me, a dam, holding back months of grief and longing and confusion. Cora, wait. She paused, her back to me. I closed the distance between us in 3 steps. Her fingers brushed against my hand, sending electricity through my body, and the words slipped out before I could stop them. I can't stop thinking about you, I confessed, my voice breaking. She glanced around the quiet suburban street, then locked her eyes with mine. "My husband never has to know," she whispered, damned, in that moment. I realized she wasn't just offering comfort, she was offering destruction. Time stopped. The world narrowed to her eyes, her slightly parted lips. The space between our bodies that seemed both vast and infinitesimal. "Is that what you want?" I asked, my throat dry. "A secret?" "I want to feel something again," she said. "Don't you?" The question hit me like a physical blow. Yes, I wanted to feel something other than grief. But this would be building. Happiness on someone else's pain. Creating a connection founded on deception. "We can't," I said, even as my body leaned toward hers. "We already are," she countered. "Every text, every coffee, every time we look at each other across a room. We crossed this line weeks ago." Leo, she was right. The affair had already begun in our minds, in our hearts. The only question was whether we would make it real. 3 days. That's how long Dominic would be in Chicago. 72 hours of possibility stretching before us like an invitation. I didn't sleep that night. Paced the floors of my empty house until dawn, arguing with Alara's ghost. "This isn't what we promised each other," I told the darkness. Morning came with no clarity. I went through the motions of my day client meetings, designs, emails, while my mind replayed Cora's words on an endless loop. "My husband never has to know." 5 words that could reshape multiple lives. 5 words that could destroy the fragile peace I'd begun to build in my grief. At 3:42 p.m. my phone buzzed with a text from Cora. "Come over tonight, 8 o'clock. The kids are at my mother's." I stared at those words until they blurred. Typed 4 different responses, deleted them all. Finally, "Are you sure?" Her reply came instantly. "About you." Yes. My hands trembled as I set the phone down. This was really happening. Throughout the day, the neighborhood continued its normal rhythm. Mrs. Henderson walked her poodle past my house at 4:15, just like always. The Taylor children played basketball in their driveway. The mail carrier delivered a stack of bills and flyers. No one looked at me differently. No one could see the war raging inside me. At 7:30, I showered, put on a clean shirt, considered cologne. Then decided against it, too deliberate, too planned. I caught my reflection in the mirror and barely recognized myself. Was this who I had become? A man preparing to enter another man's home, to touch another man's wife. No, a voice inside argued. I was a man reaching for connection in a world that had taken everything from me. Was that so wrong? 7:55, I stepped outside. The night was cool, stars bright overhead. 5 steps down my walkway, crossed the strip of grass separating our properties. Up her driveway, I raised my hand to knock and froze. Through the window, I could see inside Cora's living room. Family photos lined the mantel. A child's soccer trophy sat on the bookshelf. Evidence of lives intertwined. History built together, promises made. My wedding ring caught the porch light. Still wore it, couldn't bear to take it off. What kind of man keeps his dead wife's ring while pursuing another woman? Before I could knock, the door opened. Cora stood there, in a simple black dress, hair loose around her shoulders, beautiful in an understated way that made my chest ache. "You came," she said softly. "I shouldn't have." Tooted. We stood there, possibility crackling between us. One step forward, and everything would change. One step back, and we could pretend this had never happened. "I keep thinking about what you said," I admitted, "about already crossing the line." She nodded. "Emotional affairs can hurt more than physical ones. Is that what this is? An affair? What would you call it?" I had no answer. Just questions spinning like leaves in a storm. Would sleeping with Cora dishonor Ilara's memory? Would it hurt less than this constant ache of loneliness? Was I using Cora to escape my grief? Or was she using me to escape her marriage? We could just talk, she suggested, stepping aside to let me in. The house smelled of cinnamon and vanilla. Candles flickered on the coffee table beside 2 glasses of wine. This wasn't spontaneous. She had planned for this, hoped for this. I took the glass she offered, our fingers brushing in the exchange. "To honesty," she said, raising her glass. "Is that what we're being honest?" Her eyes met mine over the rim of her glass. "I'm being honest about what I want. Are you?" That question hung between us as we sat on her sofa, close enough to touch, but not touching. The clock on her mantel ticked loudly in the silence. Outside, headlights swept across her living room as a car turned into the cul-de-sac. We both tensed until it passed, heading for the Hendersons' house. This was our new reality, jumping at shadows, scanning for witnesses, living in fear of discovery. Was this what I wanted my life to become? "Tell me something, Cora," I said finally. "If Dominic wasn't in the picture, if you were Freewood, we'd still be sitting here right now." She considered this, twirling her wedding ring. I don't know. Maybe not. Why? Because forbidden things taste sweeter. Her honesty startled me, because the risk makes it more intense. So, I'm just an escape. Aren't I the same for you? Her question hung in the air between us. Aren't I the same for you? The truth crashed down with unexpected weight. Were we just using each other, me to escape my grief, she to escape her marriage? 2 drowning people clutching at each other in a storm. I don't know what this is, I admitted. But I know what it isn't. It isn't simple. It isn't harmless. Cora set her wineglass down, untouched. Nothing worth having ever is. For a long moment, we sat in silence, the enormity of our choices pressing down on us. Through her window, I could see my own dark house across the lawn, empty, waiting, safe. "I should go," I said finally. She didn't try to stop me as I stood. Instead, she asked, "Will you tell me something honestly, Leo?" I nodded. If Ilara were somehow watching right now, what would she think? The question cut straight through me. Not what would Ilara say, but what would she think as if Cora knew the endless conversations I'd had with my wife's memory? She'd be heartbroken, I said quietly. Not just about you, about all of it. That I couldn't keep my promise to always be the man she thought I was. Cora's eyes filled with unexpected tears. And Dominic. If he walked in right now, he'd be angry, betrayed. She shook her head slowly. He'd be inconvenienced. There's a difference. I reached the door, hand on the knob, torn between relief and regret. What happens now? That depends, she said, following me, on whether we're brave enough to face what we really want, or cowardly enough to keep taking the easy way out. Which is which? I asked. Her lips curved in a sad smile. That's what we each have to decide. I stepped outside, the night air cool against my heated skin. The houses around us stood dark and silent, windows like watching eyes. In that moment, I understood that no matter what choice we made, we were already changed. There was no going back to who we were before that moment. In her driveway, "Have you ever noticed," Cora said softly from the doorway, "how we spend our lives avoiding pain instead of pursuing joy? Always playing defense, never offense." Her words followed me across the lawn to my empty house. I unlocked my door, stepped inside, and felt the silence wrap around me like a familiar blanket. On my mantel sat the photograph of Ilara, smiling from our trip to Maui 2 years ago. "What would you do?" I whispered to her image. For the first time since her death, no answer came to mind. No imagined response, just silence. Because the truth was, Alara couldn't answer this question for me. No one could. We all face moments where the map ends and we must chart our own course through unknown territory. Is healing a betrayal of those we've lost, or is it the greatest honor we can give them? Have you ever stood at this crossroads where every path forward seems to betray someone you love? Like this video if you've ever been caught between loyalty to the past and hunger for the future. Because the human heart is rarely as simple as right and wrong. Comment below with what you think I should do. Stay true to Alara's memory, pursue this connection with Cora, or find the courage to walk away from both the past and this potential future. And if you want to hear how this story ends, whether I choose honor or happiness, loyalty or passions, subscribe now, because some choices change everything, and the aftermath, ... Well, that's where the real story begins. What would you choose if you were me? The ghost of perfect love, or the flawed reality of a second chance?